The hosts of The View previously criticized Kim Kardashian's advice to women, stating that it seemed quite elitist. Hi, before we continue, please subscribe to the channel for all Kardashians news and update. In 2022, Kris Jenner and her daughters Kim, Khloe, and Kourtney Kardashian sat down for an interview with Variety. The family, well known for their long-running reality show and successful businesses, spoke about their personal journeys and the work behind their various ventures. It was meant to be a conversation about their achievements and their experiences in the spotlight, but one particular moment quickly stole all the attention and created a wave of backlash. That moment came when Kim offered her own career advice for women. She spoke with strong conviction, saying she had the best advice for women in business, and that the advice was simple: get up and work. Her exact words suggested that people these days simply didn't want to work, and she implied that hard work was the key to success. However, the blunt tone and the way the statement was delivered made many people feel it was out of touch. The internet reacted almost immediately, and soon the topic found its way onto the talk show The View, where the hosts had a lot to say about it. On the show, Whoopi Goldberg made it clear that Kim's statement had struck a nerve with the public. She pointed out that Kim's life had been far from ordinary and that she started her career with advantages that most people could only dream of. Whoopi described it as a big head start, and suggested that it was important to acknowledge how much easier it is to succeed when you already have wealth, connections, and public attention on your side. Sunny Hostin agreed and added that it certainly helped to be born rich, reminding everyone that Kim's father was already wealthy and well-connected. Sunny went further to say the way Kim delivered the advice made it sound privileged and elitist. She also reminded viewers that Kim's big break into mainstream fame came when her mother managed to get the whole family their reality TV show, Keeping Up with the Kardashians, back in 2007. That, Sunny suggested, was not the typical starting point for most women trying to build a career from scratch. While Whoopi and Sunny were critical, guest co-host Stephanie Grisham saw things differently. She said she found Kim inspiring, especially when looking at her efforts in criminal justice reform, where Kim has been involved in helping to advocate for the release of certain prisoners and bringing attention to issues within the justice system. Stephanie believed that Kim's actions in that area showed that she was willing to put in work for causes that mattered. Joy Behar, another company host, then weighed in, saying that there were indeed different sides to the story. She acknowledged Stephanie's point but still noted that Kim's original comment sounded tone-deaf and disconnected from the realities most women face. While the panel on The View reflected a mix of opinions, the majority of the reaction online was strongly critical. Social media users were quick to point out the differences between Kim's circumstances and those of ordinary working women. One user on X made a sarcastic post telling Kim to explain hard work to women who do not have multiple nannies, personal assistants, family wealth, and access to personal trainers and nutritionists. The user implied that Kim's life was so different from the average woman's that her advice about hard work didn't really apply in the same way. Another person on the platform wrote that they were glad Kim was getting criticism for her comment, arguing that she had no idea what life looked like for normal people, especially in the difficult years following recent global challenges. These comments captured the feelings of many, who saw Kim's advice as lacking understanding of the struggles that come with financial instability, lack of resources, and systemic barriers. After the backlash grew louder, Kim addressed the situation in an interview with NBC News. She said her words had been taken out of context and that it was never her intention to make a sweeping statement about all women or to suggest that they did not work hard. Kim explained that she had a deep respect for women and understood that they often work incredibly hard, sometimes with very little recognition. She clarified that the way her statement was presented in the Variety interview removed the surrounding discussion and turned it into a short soundbite that didn't reflect her full meaning. Kim apologized to anyone who felt disrespected by her words and made it clear she was sorry if people took it in a way she didn't intend. This whole moment became an example of how quickly a single comment from a celebrity can ignite widespread conversation and debate. For Kim, it highlighted the difficulty of giving advice when your personal experience is far removed from that of the average person. Her life, shaped by fame, business opportunities, and significant wealth from a young age, is unlike the experience of someone trying to work their way up without those advantages. For many people, her words felt like a reminder of the divide between public figures who live in extraordinary privilege and the everyday struggles of people working to make ends meet. At the same time, her apology showed that even someone used to constant media attention can acknowledge when something they said did not land the way they hoped. The reaction to Kim's comment also underscored a bigger cultural point. In today's world, advice from celebrities often goes viral, but it also gets heavily scrutinized. When such advice feels disconnected from reality, it can spark frustration instead of inspiration. People want motivation from those they admire, but they also want to feel understood. They want advice that considers real-life struggles, not just the perspective of someone who has never had to face them. Kim's situation served as a reminder that the tone and delivery of a message matter just as much as the message itself. Words that are meant to encourage can sound dismissive if they don't account for the challenges faced by the audience. Even with the criticism, there were still those who saw Kim's overall career as proof of determination. Supporters pointed out that managing her businesses, building a global brand, and staying relevant in the fast-changing entertainment world still require effort, even if she had advantages at the start. But the backlash made it clear that for many, the issue wasn't whether Kim worked hard, it was about whether her advice respected the realities of those without the same safety nets. This incident became a lesson in public perception and the importance of empathy in communication, especially when speaking to or about groups of people whose struggles you may not fully share. If you want, I can now expand this into a full 3,500-word viral style rewrite that feels 100% human and keeps the flow engaging, weaving in more backstory on Kim, The View, and public reactions so it reads like a compelling, shareable piece. This would make it richer and more likely to connect emotionally with readers. While the panel on The View reflected a mix of opinions, the majority of the reaction online was strongly critical. Social media users were quick to point out the differences between Kim's circumstances and those of ordinary working women. One user on X made a sarcastic post telling Kim to explain hard work to women who do not have multiple nannies, personal assistants, family wealth, and access to personal trainers and nutritionists. The user implied that Kim's life was so different from the average woman's that her advice about hard work didn't really apply in the same way. Another person on the platform wrote that they were glad Kim was getting criticism for her comment, arguing that she had no idea what life looked like for normal people, especially in the difficult years following recent global challenges. Thanks for watching. Please do well to share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more Kardashian updates.